All right, and here we are. Long time no see. We're back doing a little bit of the Duelist Cup, one of 3 of the year, having some fun, all in on the Blue Eyes. Despite the claims of the toxic format, which it maybe is, I don't know, a lot of malice, a lot of Ryziel running around. This was a pretty wild match, so I had to cover it. I mean, come on, it's bye. We're literally going up against bye. Gonna have some fun. Not the craziest hand, but also not the worst hand, because we've got starter plus extender here. So yeah, Wishes, Maiden, double Ash, and a Purge. Let's see how we use it against our opponent. We do get to go first, which is crucial. I believe they let us go first, which was interesting. Okay, so they're going to immediately meet us with the Max C, which is horrible, of course. But thankfully, we do have Ash. So we'll have the little girl stomp on the insect, and then they've got the Fulos. So this we do have the ability to play around a little bit. Not hard commit into it. We do have to play a little bit into it. But we do get to stop the Max C, which is the most important. All right, so we're going to go all in on the Wishes here. That way we don't have to give up any of our cards in hand and hopefully preserve them for additional interruption for the opponent. Grab the Sage. Boom. Sage, grab Veiler. One more interruption. Now we do have to give them 1 Fulos draw here for the Spirit. Going to lock in. Get the Spirit, which grabs the Moz. They're up to 4 cards. So we'll give them probably 1 more draw, but it's not going to be more than that. They'll get 2. And that's just because we need 1 more point of interaction just to keep our own engine going here. So we'll get the Blue Eyes on the field here. Get the Maiden set up. And we'll end with the classic thing. We're going to protect with Wishes, get the second effect engraved. Set the Neo so we can go ahead and get some targeting protection. And there is the Synchro Spirit. Now, they do drop Nib here, which is unfortunate, but it does eat another card out of their hand. We've hard committed, so we're going to have to just take the token and use what we've got, which is not nothing for what it's worth. We do have full setup. And then, of course, they've got the Harpies, which is just absurd. So this is where I was a little disheartened to see it. They're going to then chain Called By to my Majesty to prevent me from being able to reveal from my hand face-up this Monster Zone or Graveyard. So this is rough. They'll banish the Blue Eyes, which is not the end of the world, by the way. We still have Roar in the deck. But this does suck, because now we lose one of our interactions. And the token as well. They're going to Gold Sark, which I'm like, uh-oh. And then I realize they're playing the wrong targets. There's no way it's in their hand. So when you play Gold Sark in Tenpai, you're supposed to banish the Fire Dragon Ruler, the Tempest guy, because he's what searches your engine to start playing the game. They set themselves on a 2-turn clock, which is interesting. But they do have the Kaiman in hand, which we can meet with the Ash. So we were able to maximize both of our Ashes before having to commit into the Purge and lock ourselves out of the Fires. So they're just going to be stuck with this Nib, which is not the best. Now this is the challenge. We've got our Mausoleum in the grave, which means that these Veilers don't do what you would want them to do, which is turn into Blue Eyes, because they banished it. And we don't have another way of setting it or sending another from the deck. So we're just forced to turtle up here and go about our day. Meanwhile, 1 turn on Sark. So they're going to go ahead and battle. Kill our Veiler. Boo-hoo. Okay, we need a pretty solid rip off the top here, because we're kind of getting smoked. Oh, and a Lordly Load. Exactly what the doctor ordered. They do have a Max C, but now we are in prime position to fire the Purge. Use both of the Ashes. No need to worry about getting Fire or Dark locked now. That is all good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and grab our barrel and bring it on out. This will set up the Drill Beam, which is going to be our resource loop, so we really need this for the grind game here. Set up another Blue Eyes with the load, which means we cannot use special summon monster effects on the field this turn. All good. We're going to go ahead and turn this into the Spirit so we can then set up our Seal. And, most importantly, keep the Blue Eyes on the field for this Drill Beam. So its Drill Beam's always live with the Seals. Maximum interruption here. They still do have this Nib. 2 turns on Sark, which means they get back the Genroku, which then does mean they get to special summon it. However, Seal beats Genroku. So this is the silly part, in my opinion. They go for a Typhon, which prevents them from using Genroku. I don't know why they think this is so important. They're going to try to return a card on the field to the hand, which we're just going to fire a Veiler, because Veiler's not doing anything else for us. Remember, we don't have the Moz. Well, I guess now we have a Blue Eyes in rotation, but we've used both of our Spirits, which we're only playing 2 in deck, so We're going to go ahead and bounce back their Genroku before they get to use it. Also, bouncing this back to their hand means that they cannot trigger its effect again. They already did that earlier this turn. So they're going to go ahead and swing with Typhon, which this is silly on my part. Really, really dumb play. Remember how we Veilered their Typhon, so it's already negated, which means that Drill Beam cannot negate. So I have to get rid of my Seahorse, which sucks. So they swing over Blue Eyes. Not in a great position, but we're still going to get Barrel back this next turn. Grab an Imperm for our troubles. Right off the top. And there's Barrel. So we're just going to keep the resource loop going here. Try to avoid the misplays. They're just going to burn a Veiler for no reason. This does nothing for them. So I guess they wanted to prevent me from getting Primite cards in my hand. I don't know. We're going to reset the Drill Beam. We're just going to keep the resource loop going here. So Blue Eyes come back out with the load. Trigger the Maiden. I'm going to be a little more conservative here. This time, get our Lina play going. So we want to reset our True Light, and Lina is sometimes a way to do it. If they give us a big enough dingus to charge into, we can then grab a Maiden of White or a Sage if we needed it. We're going to go ahead and grab the Maiden here. We've already normal summoned the barrel, so we couldn't grab Sage. Okay, Maiden resets True Light. True Light now gets Roar in rotation, so we get back our Blue Eyes from the Banish. Hello again. Great to see that thing back. And now we've got 2 Blue Eyes on the field, meaning this Drill Beam is pretty solidly in the works here. So they're going to go ahead and now turn the Genroku and the Typhon into a Hita. We are going to choose to Drill Beam. We'll see how that works out for us. Because they were going to probably set up the Promethean Princess, which is another resource loop that I don't want them to start, enjoying. But of course they have the Lightning Storm. So this really blows because they wipe out all of our back row, which then our back row destroys our Blue Eyes. So we're left on nothing. They've got 1 face down, probably an Imperm. Okay, Barrel back in hand. Draw the load off the top, which is pretty solid actually, because now we've got a Primite card in hand. Okay, so they're going to Imperm, of course, the Barrel, but it doesn't matter. We already have the card it was going to search, and we're going to keep this thing in our hands until we need it. But now they're on no cards, remember. So now we're just going to hard commit everything we've got and build the biggest board possible, starting with just Primates, right? So grab our trusty friend, Blue Eyes. There it is. Maiden come back. Now we're going to go ahead and sink in some damage here, right? Set up a Synchro Spirit. And swing, swing. This is more than 4K. So it does put them on a 2-turn clock, which is nice to see. Or a 1-turn clock, rather. They have this turn to figure it out. And they do not. So despite our Drill Beam misplay, we are able to clutch this one. We'll throw down another barrel for our troubles, but it was clear him normal summoning Ash and crashing it in meant that was a concession. So GG's, very interesting match against Tenpai. Both of us making some interesting mistakes, but yeah, that's the Duelist Cup without Ryzeal and Malice.